Summer Camp Revenge. Background. I'm 16 and about to graduate high school. 2 weeks before the end of class one get approached by a teacher and offered a position at a summer camp. We'll call this teacher Hiram. Now Hiram is a family friend as both of my parents are teachers within the same school board and have quite a bit of seniority. Hiram's focus was on troubled kids who couldn't succeed in a normal curriculum. He created a program within my high school to help these kids succeed learning trades. I was not one of his students, but I crossed paths with him in and outside of school. The job I'm being offered is as a waiter at an upscale Jewish summer camp. It consisted of setting up each dining hall before a meal, serving food to the kids and staff, and then cleaning the dining hall after and prep for the next meal. My direct boss would be the head waiter, who is supposed to be reporting to the camp assistant director. The pay was good and I was to get 6 days off in the 7 weeks I'd be up there. I figured, why not, I'll get away for the summer, make some money, and I was able to use the camp facilities in between shifts. I get hired and am given my start date, which is about 3 days before my prom. Hiram of course knows this and assures me that the camp has a policy of allowing paid time off for proms, so not to worry. The story. I get up to camp, meet the people I'm going to be working with, and discover that while I am a waiter working for the camp, the kitchen is run by a catering company that the camp has contracted out to handle all of the food purchasing and prep. The caterer, owner, who we'll call Dickon, hires his own staff to stock the food, cook it, and manage all the dishes. Now Dickon has this stock boy, who we'll call Clarence, and he's Dickon's right-hand man. Dickon is late 30s and Clarence is late 20s. Remember this. Dickon and Clarence give us a tour of the kitchen and then sit us all down for a chat. Dickon explains that the kitchen is his kingdom and if we look out for him, he'll take care of us. He then tells us to take any issues we have and day off requests to Clarence. I'm a bit confused at this point because this is not what I've been told, and I've always been a by-the-books person. I figure I'll play ball though, because I want to make a good impression, and approach Clarence to let him know my prom and that I'll be taking 2 days off for it. Clarence then looks me up and down, says he can't let me take 2 days, but he might be willing to let me have 1, if I can prove to be a hard worker and team player. I'm like, WTF, this is not what I was guaranteed, and I am not missing my prom. I decide the best course of action is to go speak with the head waiter to clear this up. Turns out he was useless and did whatever Clarence and Dickon told him to do. Went and spoke with Dickon, who said he'd think about it and get back to me. At this point I'm like, fuck this, I don't work for you, and go see Hiram. Now one important thing to know is that Hiram and Dickon hate each other. Hiram manages the camp infirmary. One of his many jobs is to hire real bona fide doctors to treat the kids and staff. Every year the doctors start seeing spikes of kids getting sick after about 2 weeks and they suspect is malnutrition. Hiram is pretty sure that the malnutrition stems from the poor quality of the food coming out of the kitchen and has voiced this many times to the camp director. Dickon, in retaliation, managed to turn quite a few waiters against Hiram. The waiters were all former students of Hiram's and it hurt him a lot. Some of them would even go to work directly for Dickon in and outside of the camp. Dickon also has a god complex, and doesn't like people telling him how to do things and went after anyone who went to the camp directorship about anything. I go see Hiram about my days off for prom, he gets this sour look on his face, and says he'll take care of it. The next day, the camp assistant director comes into the kitchen, speaks with Dickon and Clarence, then tells me my days off are approved and wishes me a good prom. I think great, start working for the next few days and then leave for prom. FYI, it ended on a really sour note and my entire graduating class got kicked out of our hotel, but that's a story for another day. I get back up to camp, excited to get back to work and forget about the shitshow of my prom, and things start off well. I'm a pretty extroverted person, so I make friends with the other waiters easily, and it turns out I was pretty damn good as a waiter and quickly became the unofficial backup head waiter. Myself and one other waiter are managing an entire dining hall to ourselves, 30+ tables, while the other 8 mang the second dining hall. We'd do our shifts, and then head back to our bunks and chill during out time off, but we were actively discouraged from venturing out into the camp proper by Clarence. I thought this was weird, but since none of my new friends wanted to go out, I stayed in. What I did not know at the time was that while I was away, Clarence asserted his authority over the other waiters by pretty much treating them like crap unless they did what he wanted. They were keeping him happy so they didn't get stuck with the real shit jobs. Another thing that I did not know was that Clarence loved being the center of attention with the kids and hated someone taking the spotlight away from him. He'd be giving out cookies and snacks all the time so the kids would come see him and would go out during meals to get the kids to cheer for him. I love kids, so I'd be goofing around with them at mealtime, having fun, doing fun things with the tables for the kids. I also start making friends with some of the actual camp staff, and this did not go unnoticed by Clarence, but also by the camp management. A waiter making friends with the staff was very uncommon at this camp. The staff were all from well-off Jewish families, most ex-campers, and the waiters were mostly fuck-ups with attitude issues and were looked down on. Clarence and Dickon used this to keep the waiters away from the rest of the camp, and also keep what was going on in the kitchen quiet from the camp director. A few weeks into camp, one get approached by the assistant director and get offered a position in the camp proper, working in a bunk to help oversee kids. I, stupidly, said no. I was enjoying what I was doing and didn't want to leave my new friends. At this point though, no one has had a day off. Clarence is holding them hostage to get people to do more shit work for him, and we're getting tired. No one wants to go talk to him though because they're afraid that they'll get stuck cleaning out the garbage compactor, the worst job. I go speak with him and get flat out told that no one has earned a day off and not to ask again. At this point I'm starting to lose my cool with Clarence. This fucking stock boy is not my boss, but is somehow refusing to let me take a day off, and is treating my friends like crap. I was largely left alone up to this point. Around this time Clarence pulls the stunt that crosses the line with me. All the waiters have rooms in a large trailer-like thing. Clarence comes in one evening, kicks everyone out of the trailer, and tells us he's going to search our rooms for stolen items. He puts on some rubber gloves, and starts going through everyone's room one by one. People are freaking out worried about what he's doing, so I get on the phone with Hiram, and within 10 minutes he and the assistant director coming tearing over, demanding to know what's going on. He spins some BS about a cook complaining that something was stolen, and since no one admitted to the theft he was searching our rooms. He's told to stop, that he doesn't have the authority, and any issues like that need to be brought to the camp director's attention. Once they leave, Dickon shows up and him and Clarence sit us down and tell us that when they find out who went to the director, they would be sorry. I'm thinking something needs to be done, but everyone is too afraid to go speak to the only people who can do something about it, except me. I need ammunition and I need backup. I spent the night thinking and plotting, and formed a plan. This plan would be rough on me, but the payoff was worth it. I knew I could count on Hiram to back me up, but I needed something big for him to go to the camp with. His animosity with Dickon was well known in the camp, so it had to be something that couldn't be ignored. I had to push Clarence into doing something over the top. Step 1 was taking the spotlight away from Clarence with the kids and staff. I started venturing out into the camp, doing activities with the kids in my spare time, hanging out with the staff more, and doing bigger things during meals to entertain the kids and staff. They started coming to see instead of him, and he hated it. I started getting the shittier jobs, having to stay later in the kitchen to clean. Things were working, but it wasn't enough. I needed to push things further. My participation in camp activities caught the eye of a few supervisors and program directors, and they started chatting with me, and asking me to attend some of the big camp activities, which pissed off Clarence even more. Suddenly my waiter friends are not talking to me very much, and some start getting hostile towards me. He started turning my friends against me. Still not enough. I need to pull out the big guns. I still haven't gotten a day off. Because I've become so visible in the camp, it's noticed that I haven't taken a day off. Program directors are curious about this, and I tell them it's been hard to get one. Boom. The assistant director gets involved, demanding to know why no one is getting a day off, and Clarence gets in shit. Days off are reinstated. Clarence is furious. I'm pretty sure I've pushed him far enough to do something stupid, I just didn't realize how bad it was going to be. After a meal service and I'm done cleaning a dining hall, at this point I'm having to clean one by myself, when Dickon and Clarence pull me outside. They tell me that they know I'm the one that's been going to the camp directors, and that some people are pissed, and that if I don't keep my mouth shut and head down for the next few weeks, they could not guarantee my safety. These two motherfuckers just threatened a 16-year-old with physical violence. I'm freaking out, but I had my ammo. I go to Hiram and tell him what happened. He's livid. Tells me he will do what he can, and to ask for a transfer to the infirmary immediately. I go request the transfer and tell the assistant director what happened. He's skeptical but will investigate, tells me to keep my head down and he'll get back to me. 2 days later, Hiram, the assistant director, and the camp director come storming into the kitchen. They grab Dickon and Clarence, take them to an office, and ream into them. They come to me next, tell me that today was my last day as a waiter, and that I would be starting in the infirmary the next morning doing triage. I get this massive send-off from the supervisors, PDs, and the assistant director thanking me for being such a great waiter at my last service, and I spend my last couple of weeks working a great job with an offer to join the camp drama staff next summer. I'm happy and waiting to see what happens. Turns out that a massive investigation was launched. The camp director got involved after hearing about the threat and managed to get the other waiters to tell him what had been going on with Clarence. It was also discovered that the reason why Clarence was tearing people's rooms apart that night was because he lost some weed and thought someone had stolen it. Dickon was told that if he wanted to keep his contract with the camp that Clarence would no longer be working for him here. He got fired. Clarence also worked with Dickon in school cafeterias. When word of what he did spread, he was not allowed to work in those cafeterias anymore thanks to Hiram. Dickon was kept on a very short leash moving forward, and the camp waiters were treated much better as a result. I stayed at the camp for another 5 years, eventually running their drama program. A few years later I moved into my first apt and started going to this little sandwich shop on the corner, and you'll never guess who worked there. Clarence. I don't know if he remembered me, but I enjoy having the boss make me sandwiches for years.